Hi everyone! Deep inside the Los Angeles County Archives, a long-buried file has surfaced. Not scripts or contracts, but chilling autopsy reports of Hollywood's golden age icons. These weren't sterile medical notes, but final confessions etched in scars, bruises, and silence. They revealed forced injections, radiation exposure, blackened lungs, and secrets powerful enough to outlive their stars. From Marilyn Monroe's suspicious death to Judy Garland's pill-ravaged body, from John Wayne's invisible poisoning to Rita Hayworth's fading mind, each page peeled away the glitter to expose the truth. Tonight, we uncover 15 shocking autopsy revelations that prove the dream was darker than anyone imagined. Marilyn Monroe. The staged death in August 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found lifeless at her home on Helena Drive in Brentwood. The scene looked staged. Too perfect for tragedy, too clean for suicide. She was discovered lying on her bed, one hand gently on a phone as if caught mid-conversation. The autopsy revealed barbiturate levels high enough to kill an elephant, yet her stomach was completely empty. No pills, no fragments, nothing. Coroner Thomas Noguchi wrote bluntly, "This cannot be explained by oral ingestion." Rumors spread like wildfire. Had the drugs been injected into her veins, or even administered in secret ways to avoid leaving a trace? Theories pointed toward her intimate connections with President John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. She was rumored to keep a red notebook filled with national secrets, conversations too dangerous to live with. To this day, 6 decades later, Monroe's death remains one of Hollywood's most chilling mysteries. James Dean, the shattered rebel. Just 3 years later, tragedy struck again. James Dean, the eternal rebel, sped down Highway 46 in his silver Porsche 550 Spider, the car he nicknamed Little Bastard. In an instant, the vehicle collided with a Ford Tudor, the crash erupting like a bomb. Dean, only 24, was gone. His body taken to the San Luis Obispo morgue shocked coroners. His neck snapped, chest crushed, liver pulverized. One pathologist compared the damage to victims of nuclear test sites in Nevada. Yet whispers around town weren't just about the crash. Rumors linked Dean to powerful figures: Marlon Brando, Montgomery Clift, even Tab Hunter. Personal letters vanished from his home just days after the accident, and neighbors saw Warner Brothers trucks clearing away his belongings. Dean had lived 2 lives: the bold icon of rebel without a cause, and a man burdened by secrets. Elizabeth Taylor, a heart of scars. When Elizabeth Taylor died in 2011 at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, her autopsy revealed a body battered by decades of pain. Her heart was enlarged to 1.5 times its size. Scar tissue spread across her chest, lungs, and even brain. She had endured more than 30 surgeries, some the public never knew about, including experimental cancer treatments. Doctors described her chest as a battlefield. Alongside the scars were signs of heavy morphine, Valium, and Demerol use. Even in death, evidence of repeated cosmetic procedures appeared across her face and body, reminders of the pressure to stay young for the cameras. Rumors suggested Taylor's private life was far more complex than her 8 marriages, including a deep relationship with singer Kate Thompson. The woman once crowned Hollywood's queen had been forced to sacrifice her health for an illusion. Marlon Brando, scars of secrecy. When Marlon Brando passed in 2004 at UCLA Medical Center, coroners were stunned by the bloated, scarred body before them. Once a god of the screen, he now weighed more than 150 kilograms, his face swollen, lungs ravaged by disease. Across his chest and abdomen were long scars, evidence of secret surgeries hidden from the public. He had undergone multiple weight loss operations, heart treatments, and procedures to battle diabetes, all concealed behind oversized suits and rehearsed appearances. Journalist Peter Manso described Brando's body as a map of illness and concealment. The great Don Corleone of The Godfather had been playing a final role, hiding the truth from the world. Paul Newman, coal-black lungs. The piercing blue eyes of Paul Newman defined elegance for decades, but his autopsy told another story. When his chest was opened in 2008 in Westport, Connecticut, his lungs were found blackened like coal, stiff and scarred from years of cigarette smoke. A coroner remarked, "I've seen coal miners with cleaner lungs." Newman had been Hollywood's poster boy for smoking, his cool image inseparable from a cigarette on screen. Yet in his will, Newman left one haunting line: "If I die from cigarettes, consider it a warning." His death was more than a loss. It was a condemnation of an industry that once glamorized the very habit that killed him. Steve McQueen, The Desperate Gamble by 1980. Steve McQueen was a man running out of time. Mesothelioma had left his lungs riddled with tumors. Denied help by top hospitals, McQueen secretly crossed into Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, where an unlicensed doctor operated in a dimly lit back room. Rusty tools, flickering lights, and the smell of smoke filled the air. The crude surgery removed tumors but left thick, bloody stitches across his abdomen. He died the next morning on a wooden bed. The autopsy showed asbestos fibers coating his lungs, a swollen liver, and the brutal marks of desperation. The King of Cool, who once sped across screens in Bullet, died scarred and broken in a forgotten Mexican room. Humphrey Bogart, The Skeleton of Casablanca in January 1957. Humphrey Bogart, the man of Casablanca, weighed barely 40 kilograms at the time of his death at New York Presbyterian Hospital. Esophageal cancer had stripped his body to skin and bone. His lungs were pitch black from cigarettes, his liver scarred by endless whiskey. His widow, Lauren Bacall, said bitterly, "Aside from his eyes, everything else was gone." Hollywood had sold Bogart's cigarette and whiskey as emblems of masculinity, yet they were his destruction. Thousands mourned in New York, many holding burning cigarettes at his funeral as a final, tragic tribute. Clark Gable, a king with an aged heart-on, the set of The Misfits in 1960, Clark Gable was working beside Marilyn Monroe and Montgomery Clift. The stress, the coffee, and 6 packs of cigarettes a day pushed him beyond his limits. Just 12 days after filming, Gable collapsed at his Beverly Hills home. Doctors found his heart swollen to double its normal size, arteries hardened like stone. One coroner wrote, "This is not the heart of a 59-year-old man, but of an 80-year-old. When his death was announced, Walter Cronkite told the nation, "A king has fallen, crushed by his own crown." Judy Garland, The Rainbow. That broke the girl who gave the world The Wizard of Oz lived a nightmare behind the rainbow. From age 14, Judy Garland was forced by MGM Studios to take diet pills by day and sleeping pills by night. By 1969, when she was found lifeless in her Belgravia, London apartment, her body weighed just 36 kilograms. The autopsy revealed purple nails from oxygen loss, a destroyed liver, and levels of barbiturates that had eroded her organs. The coroner noted she had the body of a teenager, yet the scars of decades. Garland's death was not a failure of willpower. It was the cost of being controlled by Hollywood since childhood. Natalie Wood, Bruises in the Water Inn. November 1981, Natalie Wood disappeared from the yacht Splendor off Catalina Island. Hours later, her body washed ashore in a nightgown. The autopsy revealed bruises on her wrist, thighs, and shin, clear signs of a struggle. On the boat that night were her husband, Robert Wagner, co-star Christopher Walken, and the captain, Dennis Davern. Witnesses later recalled shouting and crashing furniture before silence fell. Natalie, who once admitted her fear of water, was gone. In 2011, the case was reopened, and her cause of death changed to undetermined. Yet the truth still lies beneath Catalina's waves. Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes. Blackened lungs when Frank Sinatra died in 1998 in Los Angeles. His autopsy revealed lungs hardened like stone and arteries blocked nearly 90%. Cutting into them was like sawing wood. His heart was frail, his voice silenced forever. On stage, Sinatra was eternal, laughing with Dean Martin, charming crowds in Las Vegas, living the high life with the Rat Pack. But inside, cigarettes, liquor, and mafia nights had carved his death sentence. Sinatra didn't just die of age, he died from the vices that built his legend. John Wayne, poisoned by radiation, the mighty John Wayne, the cowboy of cowboys, carried inside him an invisible killer. When he died in 1979, coroners discovered abnormal radiation in his tissue. The cause pointed back to Utah and Nevada, where he filmed The Conqueror near nuclear test sites. More than 90 cast and crew members later developed cancer, including Susan Hayward and director Dick Powell. The government had once declared the desert safe. In truth, the Duke was poisoned on set. Hollywood's rugged cowboy had fallen not to bullets, but to radiation dust. The final curtain has fallen, but the shadows remain. From Marilyn Monroe to Rita Hayworth, each autopsy revealed truths Hollywood never wanted us to see. Behind the fame was pain, behind the glamour was tragedy. Which story shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more untold stories from behind the spotlight, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the next revelation. Thanks for watching.